Okay, Brian, are you ready?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Clay Clark introduction voiceover, take one. Whenever you feel it, Brian.
Ladies and gentlemen, today's speaker is the founder of Thrive15.com, the former United States Small Business Administration Entrepreneur of the Year, a contributing writer for Entrepreneur Magazine, and the author of 4 books. He started his first business out of his college dorm room and was named as the Metro Chamber of Commerce Entrepreneur of the Year at just age 20. How's that feeling in there?
Not bad. Not great. It's actually pretty terrible. Could you bring more sizzle?
Okay, sure.
And whenever you feel it.
Since that time, he and his companies have been featured in Forbes, Pando Daily, Yahoo Finance, Bloomberg, and countless publications. He has been the entertainer and educator of choice for some of the world's largest companies, including Hewlett-Packard, Valspar Paint, OxyFresh, Maytag University, Boeing, Farmers Insurance, and many others.
Cut. This isn't working.
I could liven it up maybe with like a British accent or Clay Clark, matey, shrimp on the barbie.
You have to stop. It needs more energy. It needs more flow. I think only one man can help us. Bring in Randall.
The Hype Man!
Oh! The Hype Man's in the house! Hey! Ho! Randall, the Hype Man! What up, Brian? How you doing?
Hey.
Good to see you, bro.
Randall.
Listen, I hear that you got some problems bringing some hype to this piece. You need to hype it up!
That's not even true. It's not what it...
The master's in session. You gotta listen, all right? I want you to close your mouth, close your ears, and listen with your heart, all right? In order to be a hype man, you gotta rhyme all the time. Isn't that right, Mixmaster Jeff?
That's right.
Listen, you gotta bring the fire that the event requires, all right? So step into my dojo of mojo, and let me show you how this is done. Step back. Here we go. You rolling?
You got it, Randall.
Ladies and gentlemen, today's speaker is the master of the tray. He had to take both algebra and the ACT 3 times just to be here today. He's the co-creator and co-founder of 5 Human Kids, and he'd be making more if he wasn't currently doing this gig. Oh, and that's how you do it. Step up, Brian. Let's go.
Do you want me just to read from the script? Or
Okay, step out. I got more magic in this pot of gold. Here we go. Listen up. Fabulous fellas and lovely ladies, our next speaker is an American dream living boss. He's done what we all wanted to do. He's run for mayor and lost. People, this is the Broda from Minnesota. So cool that the other side of the pillow should have told you. He's more pale than Kevin McHale and more organic than the kale Whole Foods has on sale. Oh, step up here, Brian.
That's actually not as factual as what I was saying before.
Okay, get out. Let me finish this. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for America's self-proclaimed most humble man. It's Mr. Clay Clark!
Oh.
That's me dropping the mic.
Check 1, check 2. How we doing? That's all unfortunately true. All right. Okay. I did take algebra 3 times, and I did take my ACT 3 times. Who had to take their ACT more than once? Just kind of, okay, good job. All right. I don't feel too bad. All right, what we're going to do here is we're going to have a lot of fun today, but specifically my goal is to help you guys make a deep impact and to improve your life by 2%. What does that mean? I don't need to take the room down, but I'm just going to give you an example. We all have a limited amount of time. So I want you to look at your sheet of paper. We have 2 pieces of paper on your table of fun here. Okay, so you have one here. This is the white sheet, white like my pigmentation, very pale. Now the next one is yellow, Packer yellow right here, okay? So we're going to do this white one here. This one is for you. The white one is for me. You're going to leave the white one here for me. And the yellow one is for you. Okay? So the white one's for me. The yellow one's for you. I'd like to have you take out your yellow sheet of paper real quick and write down the answer to this question real quick. How long are you going to be alive? How long are you going to be alive? And you go, that is a really not a positive way to start this conversation. My father... We discovered my dad, he has ALS. Has anybody discovered ALS, know what that's about? ALS, Lou Gehrig's disease? So for me being here, I'm not with him now. So I'm choosing to be here because I really do care about you guys. And I want to make sure that today's event is not meaningless. Otherwise, I'd rather be either with him or maybe at Chick-fil-A ordering some more or something. Okay? So we want to make sure that today's impact is that's a very powerful event for you because we don't know how long we're going to be alive, right? We might as well live while we are alive. Does that make sense? So I want you to think about it. Write down how many years you're going to be alive, okay? Now go ahead and write down this now. Write down all of the things that you would do if money was not a variable. If you weren't limited by money. Just go ahead and brainstorm. This event's about you, it's not about me. And if you're the guy looking at the guy next to you, kind of stealing his ideas, that's kind of weird, but you can do that, that's fine. Now, the reason why I'm talking about this is because entrepreneurship, in my mind, is simply a vehicle to get you from point A to point B. So I grew up on food stamps. I don't particularly like entrepreneurship. It's just the necessary evil needed for me to make enough money to do what I want to do. That's how I roll with it. Some people love entrepreneurship. Some people kind of love-hate entrepreneurship, but the point is entrepreneurship is a vehicle. Does that make sense? So I have that Ram. Do you guys see the Dodge Ram parked in the only park here if your car is environmentally safe car? Do you see that Ram parked right there and the don't park here unless your car gets 82 miles a gallon? That's my Ram. The reason why I parked it there is so you can think about it, okay? Think about this. I rented that car to get me from the airport to here. I really don't care about the car. It's just a vehicle to get me here. Does that make sense? So your career is a vehicle to get you where you want to go. Does that make sense? In my mind, staying in your career is like staying in the rental car once you get to Disneyland. So the kids are like, hey, Dad, can we get out and kind of run around and check out Disneyland? And you go, no, let's stay inside the rental car. It's sweet. I spent all my money on it. Make sense? So your business is just a vehicle to get you there. Does that make sense? Now, it's okay to turn on the AC. Ladies probably turn on the heat. You know what I'm saying? It's okay to crank up Bon Jovi, Barb. We crank up Bon Jovi while we're driving. It's okay to have fun while we're driving, right? Who here's been on a road trip before with your parents and you're like, I just wish we would get into like a kind of a quasi-accident so the car could stop. Who's ever done that? Mom reaches over to touch the AC. Dad touches it. You're driving in absolute silence while listening to PBS broadcasting. Who's been in that car ride? Family vacations, you're like, I would rather just stay here. It's so much more fun, right? So a lot of entrepreneurs, though, build businesses like that, where it's a vehicle they don't even want to be in. Who has ever met an entrepreneur who does not like their business, or maybe you're the product of people like that? Your parents own a business that they don't like. They're attached to it. They work there 80 hours a week, and they hate it. Who knows about that? Yeah, it's kind of sad, but it's true, right? 67% of all the jobs in the U.S. are small businesses, and a lot of people are trapped in them, working 7 days a week, not liking what they do. I'm talking today about building a business that you like. You're enjoying the trip en route to the destination you want to get to. Does that make sense? All right, so I'd probably be asking if I were you guys, who is this guy? I'm just going to give you a quick rundown. I was kicked out of Oral Roberts University in 2000 for writing a parody song about my school's president that I thought was hilarious in my 18-year-old mind, and he did not like it. So if you go on YouTube, you can type in ORU Slim Shady. Somebody who was really smart took the song and put it on the school's voicemail system. And so now I got a chance to meet all the faculty. And the president was going, hey, did you write this song? And I'm like, yeah, I did, And so the terms were offered, hey, if you apologize, you can stay. And I'm like, I can't do that because I like the song a lot. So I left college. I became Entrepreneur of the Year, and I was 22 for the state of Tulsa, or for the city of Tulsa. And then SBA, the United States Small Business Administration, 2007, I teamed up with David Robinson, the basketball player. Who knows about David Robinson for the Spurs? He's a buddy of mine, and we started an online school called Thrive15.com, and it's $20 a month, and we have thousands of people all over the world. It's cool because it's month to month, and it's $20, and you literally learn everything you need to know to start a business, and you can fly out for seminars as part of it, and it's free. So you can come out to seminars, and it's craziness. So anyway, moving on. So today's goal is I want to help you guys change your life. That's the whole purpose. That's my whole goal today. Okay, so what's the purpose of a business? Ask yourself that. My answer is to serve the needs of the business owner. But you can answer however you want. Write down your own answer. What is the purpose of a business? And I'm going to say things that are kind of offensive today because I'm not going to come back. Just kidding. Probably true, though. But I'm going to say things that are offensive because I really don't care about being politically correct. I care about helping your life. Okay? So what is the purpose of a business? Ask yourself that. Marinate on that. What is the purpose? For me, some people, they get on TED Talks and they say, the goal of a business is to help the community and improve the environment. I really don't give a crap about that. I don't want to create jobs. I don't want to create a better community. I want to make a lot of money so that I can go in my man room and watch the Patriots. It's a downer. He's not a fun speaker. He's a demotivational speaker. Why is he here? Okay, but the systems I'm going to teach you guys today work, okay? So here's the system. Who here's read Rich Dad, Poor Dad? Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Right? So I'm not going to put my goals on you. Someone here says, I want to build a business to make the environment better. That's awesome. That's your goal, right? That's where you want to go. It's not my goal, but don't let me put my goals on you. Does that make sense? Don't let me put my goals on you. What if I know one guy, true story. There's a guy, he's a friend of mine. His whole goal is to earn enough money to never have to leave the forest with his 5 kids. Right? And that guy is me. So I enjoy limited interaction with humans. So I enjoy to be kind of Yoda-esque. I like that kind of stuff. And I like to go out occasionally, and people are like, is he out? Is he? I drive a Hummer, and I have Kim Jong-un auto-wrapped on my Hummer. True story. And it says, see why Kim Jong-un hates Thrive15.com. Because he said that he would shut down Sony, right, for making a movie about him. So I figured he'll, send a warhead to my Hummer. I don't know. I just like to taunt the dictator. But the point is, think about this. What is the goal of a business? So we're going to go through the steps here, okay? So first step, and I want you guys to write this down, is you're an employee. You have a job, okay? You're a job. You have a job, you're an employee. What is the job of an employee? Here's the deal. Who here has a job right now? Who here has a job? The most selfish thing you could do is to be the best employee in the history of that company. The most selfish thing that you could do is to be the most incredible employee in the history of that company. Why? Somebody tell me why. Why is that? Hamada, hamada, hamada. How many people are here today? That's awesome. Okay, so why? Why would you want to do that? Why would you want to be the best employee ever? Yes, ma'am. It sets the bar for the other employees. Check it out. If you want to meet your boss, you want to find a mentor, beat your boss to work. I typically go to work at 3 a.m. or 4 a.m. so I can leave early. But the only guy who used to beat me was Marshall. So there's Marshall back there. Marshall would beat me, and all of a sudden, guess what? We get FaceTime. AKA, we get wow, Marshall is awesome. I should probably promote that guy. Does that make sense? So check it out. When you're an employee, I want you guys to write this next to the word employee. You want to get a reputation. A reputation, right? Reputation. Okay? Plus, it's a little math equation here. Somebody here is a math major. Work with me. Reputation plus practical education. So reputation plus practical education equals compensation. You feel me? Like a petting zoo? Nah. Okay. So, reputation plus practical what? Education equals compensation. Make sense? Practical. Like what problems can you solve? What stuff can you do? Now, if you're good enough as an employee, typically you'll start to see that you have a practical what? Education. Meaning that you can solve a problem. And if you can solve a problem, then you should probably go out there and start a business. Self-employed. Self-employed. You feel me? Make sense? So, are we getting this? So if you are good enough as an employee that you learn a practical skill, okay, then you have that skill, and you can take that skill with you to the next thing. So one guy used to work with me. His name was Clarence, and Clarence learned. I have an advertisement PR company, one of our companies. We get companies to the top of Google, and we get them on the news, the whole thing. And Clarence one day goes, "I think I could probably do that better," So Clarence went out and took that skill of search engine optimization and started his own business. Make sense? But a lot of times, how many people here are in these entrepreneurship classes and you're like, I don't know what I want to do. Who's doing that? Who's going, I don't know what I want to do. Anybody else? Bunch of liars everywhere. Okay. Who here honestly says, I don't know what I want to do yet. I don't know what I want to do. I'm in the class. That's fine. So what you have to do, I'm just telling you, get a job, and at that job, be the best you can be. Get in an industry where you think you might want to be here, and just be the best ever. Because you're going to get a practical education, get a reputation. And if you get a reputation, don't you need an investor maybe? What kind of people with a functional mind would invest in someone who they can't trust? You know what I mean? So I only invest in people who have a good reputation. And how long does it take to build a reputation? Ladies, who here's been asked out on a date by a guy on this campus? Probably not this campus, probably another campus. I know all the men here are reputable, but another campus. And you kind of go on the little Facebook or the little Instagram or the little Twitter, and you see some things that maybe make you feel like Home Skillet maybe does not have the best of intentions. Ladies, have you done this before? Guys, that's a dumb tax. You can't have it on social media. Your reputation follows you around, right? So you have to build that reputation. Now, once you become self-employed, the goal is to build a business. Build a business. And a business is something, it's a vehicle that helps you get where you want to go. Do you guys see the distinction? What's the difference between a business and being self-employed? What's the difference? Work with me. Travel into my soul and then come back out in the form of you and answer the question. Here we go. It's kind of weird. Okay, anybody? Courtesy laugh in the back. Thank you. You're a beautiful man. Okay, here we go. A business owner, a business owner, that means you own a business, right? So the business generates profit when you're not there or doing the job, right? So right now I'm here, but my business, I have a company called Elephant in the Room Men's Grooming Lounge. And some of these ladies are going, he's not well groomed at all. Why does he own a business like that? That's true. I don't go there, just being real. So I'm an owner of a business that I don't even really like the product. You know, because it's like a country club for hair. It's a men's grooming lounge. Dudes, you know what I'm talking about? You know, like beard oils and such. Do we have any dudes with beards here? You know, beard oil and, you know what I'm saying, the beard oil deal, and it's the whole like paraffin hand dip. I don't want paraffin hand dip. I want to go home. You know, but I have that business, and why do I have that business? Because there's a lot of guys who are reading GQ who want that stuff. And for $44 a month, 1,600 men pay me to do so. Make sense? It's barnwood, it's rustic decor, it's called Elephant in the Room. And it's a business that works when I'm not, what? There. But how did I go from being an employee? What did I have to do to go from an employee to being self-employed? I had to build a reputation, get a practical what? Education, right? So I could earn some compensation. Check it out. And when you have enough money, then you can do this one thing called starting a business. Are you guys feeling me? Yes. Beautiful. Okay. Now the next is an investor. This is the smart table over here. These are the investors over here. We're not going to make eye contact. They're very smart. They're intimidating. I kind of feel like a pressure from over here. But these guys they invest in real estate. They invest in other things. How do you become an investor? That means you have to earn enough money to let your money do the working for you. You feel me? So if some people are going, I don't know what to do after college. Well, you can't sleep on your parents' couch. I mean, a lot of people do. But you don't want to do that, right? So you need to get a jobby job. Then you need to be the best you can be. What does it mean to be the best employee ever? I'd be the first one there, last one out, ask the boss, hey, what can I do? Not for their benefit, but for yours, because you will get a what? Reputation. Does that make sense? Okay? So moving on here. So these are timelines of success, and I want to share this with you because I feel like one of the things that happens is we're watching too much TED Talks. And TED Talks is like a 1-hour video, or it's a 1-hour seminar by a jerk like me, right? And you're supposed to like learn it all in an hour of power. But let's look at the timeline just so you don't get discouraged here, okay? So look at this. In 1919, Walt Disney returns to the U.S. after he was basically serving overseas in war. 1919, okay? Everybody mentally put that in your mind. 1919. What was the first year that Homeboy turned a profit? 1931. How many years was that, math majors? Carry the 1, move over the 2, divide. Does anyone have a calculator? How many years? Keep going. So if you had a 2, right, it'd be 20. So 12. Before he made a profit. That's not very exciting, but it's true, right? So write that down. Disney, 12 years. Let's move on. ESPN, da-da-da. Who's watched that station? I don't watch it. I watch C-SPAN. It's so educational. No, you don't. You watch ESPN. Dudes, come on. Dudes, how many dudes watch ESPN? Okay, so these homeboys, Bill and Scott, they started in 1979. How many years until they made a profit? 1986, somebody carry the 1, divide the 2, bring over, divide the... Oh, that's not very exciting. I thought, does that make sense? Are you guys starting to feel me here? Are you getting this? 7 years. Let's move on. Google, those Google guys. In 1995, Larry and Sergey, they started this whole Google thing. Who here has ever heard about Google? The other day I was thinking about using it. Right now I'm using Bing. Just kidding. No one uses Bing and we know it. Somebody here is going, I use Bing all the time. Well, that's a life choice we need to talk about. We'll have a private little session. Okay? So 2001, they turned their first what? Profit. It's okay to get excited. It's okay. I know it's early morning. I know some people here are kind of going, I don't normally wake up until about noon. And so work with me, okay? Next one here. Dropbox. Who here uses Dropbox? Who here has a Dropbox? Who here has no idea what a Dropbox is? Okay, Dropbox is like a file sharing place where you can save files, and you can, instead of having it on your C drive or your D drive or your school whatever drive, you can save it, right? Boom. Dropbox. They started in 2007, and in 2014 they turned their first profit. I'm a former DJ. That was my first business. I was a DJ. You guys know that? That's cool. I used to DJ as a disc jockey. You guys know what a disc jockey is? There's like the guy at the carnival, the carny. Don't make carny jokes. People have to do that job so that we can make jokes about the carnies. Okay, but you start off as a carny. A DJ is one step below a carny. So you start up, if you're a really good DJ, you work your way up and you become a carny. And then from a carny, you become a speaker. And then you become a politician. That's the process. That's how it happens. So work with me. So I started out as a DJ, making the story real as a DJ. So as a DJ, I had to become the best what? DJ in the history of that company, right? So all access mobile music. I screwed up some serious weddings while working there. No, I'm not kidding. I did the whole deal where the bride goes, I'm dancing with my father to The Way You Look Tonight. And I'm like, awesome. That's great. And they go, we've been practicing. Who here's been to a wedding where the bride's practiced with her dad? Work with me. I'm going to ruin that moment in just a second. So I'm like, I got it, right? I got it, And I studied jackassery in college. It's from the root word jackass. It's Greek. It's jackassery. But anyway, so I thought, well, you know what I'm going to do is I'm going to get there just on time, right? And I'm going to just kind of have the music just ready to go. And so I grabbed The Way You Look Tonight, not by Frank Sinatra, but I grabbed the version by it's a little Elton John. Elton John was right here and Sinatra's right here, and because I didn't prepare, I grabbed the Elton John. Who here knows the Elton John, The Way You Look Tonight? Something about the way you look tonight takes my breath away. That song, right? And then Frank Sinatra is just the way you look. All right, ladies and gentlemen, up next here, we're going to introduce the father of the bride for the father and daughter dance. This is going to be an incredible moment. They've been practicing for months, and I am so excited. Boom! Ow! And then I look, and a sea of people like you are going, we're judging you. We're sending hate to you through our eyeballs. And I wanted to hide, but the booth is only so wide, and so you kind of, And so I screwed up some weddings, but the good news was I learned something, right? So when you're an employee, guess what? You get to learn some stuff. Does that make sense? You learn from mistakes, right? You fail fast. Does that make sense? So eventually I became good enough. I had a reputation as being a good DJ. I went out there and started my own business, right? Then I got good enough at that. Then I hired other dudes. And before I sold it, we had like 3,600 weddings a year we were doing. 3,600 weddings a year. It's like the population of Fargo. Just kidding. Moving on. All right. Okay, so Twitter started out as Odeo. Who remembers Odeo? You guys rocking Odeo? Hey, dude, I'll shoot you an Odeo. No, it's tweet, right? 2007, Home Skillet was working on Odeo. 2013, he made a profit. How many years was that? So I'm just saying, if you leave here today and if you are like the ninja of entrepreneurship, you're God's gift to entrepreneurship. You're like Yoda meets a politically correct Donald Trump and Oprah with the little swirly swirl of Sarah Blakely and Steve Jobs. You won't make a profit for 5 years. Okay? And that's okay, because that's what it's like. That's the real talk. It's real talk. It's not a motivational talk. It's not Tony Robbins. I'm not walking on coals and we're not getting excited. But the thing is, you guys can all do it, though, because everyone here watching goes, he doesn't even have a mind that works. How does he grow a business? He just says things that don't make sense. They don't relate. I don't get it. The thing is, if I can do it, you can do it. Does that make sense? I promise everybody can do it, but you got to go through that path, okay? Facebook, 2003 to 2009, that's 6 years. That guy was a genius. 6 years until he made a profit. All right, so we're moving on here. Tesla, 2003 to 2013. Someone with a calculator. What was that? 10. Yeah, the guy in the back. He's got the calculator. He knows it all. 10 years. 10 years. Who knew that? Of course we don't know that, because we don't celebrate success until people come across the finish line. You feel me? So we're like, he's the best, they're genius. And then we compare ourselves to people, right, who are having a $1 billion company on the cover of whatever the heck. And we're going, Elon Musk is a genius. Did you guys know that for 10 years, Homeboy lost money? And if it wasn't for the government bailout, he would have never got it off the ground. Do you know that? True story. Moving on. All right, Uber. 1998, Home Skillet got going, okay? Okay, these are all real stories. So we're going to talk about these 6 principles today. We're going to go fast. Take some notes. It's going to be awesome. So here we go. Talk about Thrive, okay? The Thrive. That's the name of the talk here today, okay? Will this work for you? Yes, it'll work for you, but you have to have in the top right, pig-headed discipline. That's pig-headed discipline. That's my wife. I tricked her into marrying me. That's my 5 kids. My wife, I'm pretty sure she's blind. She just can't see me. You know, she just can't see me. That's how I tricked her. But anyway, moving on. So what I want you guys to do is I want you to take out the sheet here, okay, the white sheet, and I want you to rate yourself on a scale of 1 to 10 on these areas, and I'm going to have you turn it into me. I'm not going to put it on the internet. I'm not going to tweet it out there. What I'm going to do, though, is I'm going to compile these statistics, and I'm going to share this with Barb, who might be America's best human. Let's hear it for Barb, folks. Yes. Too early to tell right now, but the votes are still coming in. But with 33% of the people reporting, she's the best human right now in the world. Okay, here we go. So on a scale of 1 to 10, I want you to rate yourself. 1, your overall satisfaction with where you currently are in life. In life. Why do you ask that question? Because you're only going to live one time. And if you're not doing something that you're enjoying or it's not going to get you where you want to go, why are you doing it? I'll tell you why you're doing it. Because everybody's doing it. Oh. So let's talk about it real quick. Entrepreneurs are contrarian. They see things a little bit differently, right? So most people do things that most people do because that's what most people do. Does that make sense? Very rare does someone go, I don't know if this makes sense. Because if people did say that, Nazi Germany wouldn't have been possible. That's not a fun statement. But most people are like, well, we'll just put a little gold star on them and put them over there. Makes sense. We're just separating these people. We'll just and then pretty soon it's like, how did it happen? We didn't know. How do you not know? Look at the history. Most people do what most people do. Does that make sense? It's scary. Most people vote for Santa Claus, not to get political, but here we go. So if most people like somebody, they vote for it. Free stuff for me? That sounds good. Has anyone done the math? I don't know. Let's vote for it. Santa Claus. Let's vote for him. Does that make sense? So how happy are you with your life on a scale of 1 to 10? The next, your belief in the growth mindset. There's a belief called the growth mindset, which is your belief that you can actually achieve massive success. So I'm just being real. I make about $94,000 a month. Why do I know? Because I add it up every month. People shouldn't say those things. I'm saying it because you need to know that I'm an idiot with a functional brain. Barely. It kind of flickers. It's like a pulsing thing. But if I can do it, you can do it. And everyone here can do bigger things than I've ever done by a factor of 15, 20, 30. I'm the least intelligent speaker in the entire history of this event. I feel confident in that statement. Okay, so here we go. The final area on a scale of 1 to 10, your confidence that you can achieve your dreams. On a scale of 1 to 10. 10 is, it's definitely going to happen. You're that guy, you're that lady, you're like, oh, bro, I got this, easy. Somebody else is going, I don't know. Your confidence that you can do it. One of my friends, his name is Phil Pressey. He plays for the Phoenix Suns. If you Google Phil Pressey, Pressey, he's like 5'8", maybe 9, 5'8", 9, and he plays on that team. What gives him the mindset to think he can do it? Because his dad did it. His dad's a coach for the Lakers. So he had the belief that he can do it regardless of his height. Does that make sense? By the way, go on YouTube and watch some of his dunks. They're sick. But he has that belief that he could play at that level. Most people 5'8" don't even try. Does that make sense? All right, so we're moving on here. So time to learn. This is the fixed mindset versus the growth mindset. I want you guys to think about this. Dr. Carol Dweck, okay? Dr. Carol Dweck, she is with Stanford. Her book's called The Growth Mindset. I'm not going to bore you with the whole thing, but she says there's two kinds of mindsets, okay? And almost 95% of people have a fixed mindset and 5% of people have a growth mindset. In this room, not you people, it's the people at the other, who's our rival college? Everybody there has the fixed mindset. They're just dumb. They chose the wrong school. No, but seriously, 95% of people have the fixed mindset, okay? I'm going to read this to you. It says, people with a fixed mindset believe that their traits are just given, that they have a certain amount of brains and talent, and nothing can change that. The growth mindset, though, is a belief that people with a growth mindset, on the other hand, see their qualities as things that can be developed through their dedication and effort. So I want to walk you through this. There's a statistic out there that just came out. It's kind of crazy. Google it on CNN Money, American Dream. 59% of Americans say right now the American dream is not possible, which is totally crap. 59% of people have their heads so far up their area that they're unable to process they can have success because they have a fixed mindset. And I know because I grew up in that family. That was my first car, a 1989 Ford Escort. Do you know what you do when you grow up poor? Here's a tip for staying poor. I used to do this move. As soon as you get any type of cash, what do you do with the cash? Immediately on spinners. You know, you stop, but the wheels keep rolling. Yeah. Subwoofers and massive TVs. That's how you stay poor. Does that make sense? It's a poverty mindset. What do successful people do? I'm going to teach you right now. What does Andrew Carnegie do with a dollar? He started, by the way, he grew up poor, started working when he was 12 years old. Rockefeller started working when he was 16 years old. What do they do with a dollar? They save 20%. Why? To buy an opportunity. If you can't save, the seeds of greatness are not within you. I'll repeat that. If you cannot save, the seeds of greatness are not within you. If you can't live without the air conditioning for a summer to start your DJ company, you never will. Does that make sense? So my wife and I didn't grow up successful. I just hung around a lot of successful people, reached out to them, tried to read these books, and they all said, you need to save 20%. And I'm like, I guess that means we don't have air conditioning. My wife's like, let's do it. We both grew up poor. That's how we did it. My wife and I built the business together. We turned off air conditioning. But you've got to think about what trade-offs, what sacrifices. Now, who has the time to learn? This just in, only rich people. 88% of wealthy people read 30 minutes a day, study 30 minutes a day for their career, versus 2% of the poverty population, according to Entrepreneur Magazine. And you can read every other study you want, but the point is you need to take at least 30 minutes a day to study what you want to be good at. Who here knows what you want to do? I'm going to pick on you because you want to be a dog groomer. Is that right? So you need to take a half-hour a day to read every single book about dog grooming ever. So you become a Wikipedia of dog grooming geniusness before you graduate. Does that make sense? That's how it's going to work. But you have to do that. And if you don't, it's okay. You'll just make 10 times less, which is cool. Right? Maybe not. Moving on. Have a definite chief aim. Boone Pickens has this quote. He's a billionaire. He says, when you're hunting elephants, don't get distracted chasing rabbits. What are we talking about? Know what you want to do with your life. Know what you want to do. No. Some of you have it in you right now. You know what you want to do, but then you're like going, well, that seems weird. You know, someone here's like, I really want to open a ballet studio, and maybe you told your mom or your brother, and they're like, how are you going to support yourself? Imagine being me and telling people you want to be a disc jockey. You know? People, is that a real job? Do you DJ at the Yucatan liquor stand? Is that stable? The Yucatan liquor stand? I'm like, oh yeah, Thirsty Thursdays, every Thursday. It's consistent. Right? But the thing is, you have to know what you want to do. Does that make sense? So how are you going to know? This just in. Nobody cares about your success more than you or even close. Oh, that's not very fun. So I'm here today because I really care for an hour. But I'm going to peace out soon, and I won't even know what we're talking about. I'll be moving on. I'll be listening to George Michael, and Marshall's like, turn it off. I hate George Michael. I'm like, no, we will listen to the whole 54 minutes of George Michael. But the thing is that no one's going to wake up tomorrow and cheer for you. Does that make sense? You have to learn to motivate yourself. Are you guys feeling me? You have to do it. You have to say, I am the baddest, most incredible entrepreneur in the history of the planet. I got this. Because if you don't do it, who's going to follow someone who doesn't believe that? Does that make sense? Some of us are waiting for an outside third party to come out there and give us the validation that we needed, and it's not going to happen. Make sense? You've got to figure out what you want to do. I would recommend you take this weekend off and you sit by a rock, by a pond, maybe a frozen pond on a rock, and you sit there and you marinate and you go, what do I want to do? I'm not kidding. Because once you know what you want to do, everything changes. Should I go out tonight? Should I get this degree? Should I go over here? Should I marry this person? You guys literally know I chose who not to marry based upon my career choice. True story. Dating a girl, attractive girl. I tricked her as well. Dating her, things are going well. And I hear her say, I really would like for us to, and I'm going, oh no, homie, don't play that. I can't do it. No ski. Nope, not going to do it. Nope, I'm going to own my own business. I am not going to go work for your father. Not going to be part of this chicken palace he's building. Not going to be part, he's an industrial chicken farmer. Not going to do it. Not going to go to those family reunions. Done. Boom. Drop the mic. Over. A lot of tears. I'm happy about it. Okay? So, have a definite chief. Because isn't it mean to go into a dating relationship if you don't know what you want? Isn't it mean? That was me, Captain Jerks a lot. Just being a jerk. Okay, moving on. So here we go. Number 3. Remember to be either too dumb or too numb to fail. Okay, point 3. Remember to either be too dumb or too numb to fail. Who's that guy? You guys know One Republic? Ryan Tedder, right there? I went to college with him. There he is. He was one of our first, he actually DJ'd for us, kind of filled in for our DJ company, Ryan Tedder. Too Late to Apologize, Counting Stars, Halo, Adele's album. Nobody knows what I'm talking about. That's okay. Maybe it doesn't get up to South Dakota. Maybe, I don't know. Anyway, so the thing is, check it out. He decided that he wanted to become a pop star. And at what age do you have to decide you want to become a pop star to become a pop star? Right now. Because everything you do has to lead towards that. Does that make sense? Who here's read the book Outliers? Outliers? Have you ever required reading here? Okay, Outliers. Okay? Basically, they study the Beatles, they study Bill Gates. People that spend 10,000 hours doing anything get good at it. So I'm going to ask you this question. This is a painful question. Just look ahead. What are you spending 10,000 hours on? You can go ahead and write your answer. Don't tell anybody. I bet it's social media and TV. I'm really good at watching TV. I can tweet about every 2 minutes. It's awesome. I'm so good at it. And I'm also good at TV. I spend 10,000 hours. If I keep doing this, I'll be a TV genius. You won't make any money doing that. So you got to take time out, schedule, right? Time to become the dog grooming queen of America. You feel me? You got to block out time to focus on what you want to do. Does that make sense? We have to do that. Okay? Now you either have to be too dumb or too numb to fail. Who here is a person who is totally rejection adverse? When you get rejected, it doesn't bother you at all. Who's like that? Who here, when you get rejected a little bit, like that networking thing was crazy. Who is that person? Like for me, just telling you guys, I grew up, as a stutterer, so we do networking. She says networking, and I'm going, I've heard about this. Oh no. And I could usually do networking as long as I have my game face on like the night before, where I'm like, I can do this. I can meet people I don't know, and if they say no to me or reject me, I'm still beautiful, because I'm a beautiful man. I can network. But when she said it instantly, I'm like over there having self-talk, like, I'm a beautiful man. Oh crap, what do I say? But entrepreneurship, you have to deal with what? Fear. You have to face it right in the face. You got to go right through it. If you're going through hell, please don't stop. You got to keep going, right? So if you're going to be an entrepreneur, you have to face fear. If you can't face fear, check it out. It's okay. You can get a job as an employee to work for somebody who doesn't mind fear. Does that make sense? So as a business owner, all the time, people will call me and go, hey, elephant in the room, we got sued today. There's a girl who claims that she was harassed. And before anybody freaks out, if you own a business, you're going to get sued about every 6 months, okay? It's how it goes. But I'm like, cool, shoot me an email, I'll deal with it tomorrow. There's no vodka available. I just kind of, all right, great. Yeah. And then mentally, I used to get scared, used to be fearful. Now I don't anymore. Now I'm like, you know what? Short of death, I lost one of my very good friends at a young age. My dad's fighting for his life. I really don't care now about the concept of being sued. I'm sort of fearless about that. Does that make sense? You've got to have that mindset. You got to develop it yourself, okay? So here's a stat I want to give you. 80% of millionaires are first generation. 80%. Where's that from? I'll give you all these slides. The millionaire next door. 80%. What does that mean? If someone's going, well, I'd love to start a business, I just don't have the capital. You have to get a job and then be the best at that job, right? So you can eventually become self-employed, and then you can build a business. And it might take you how many years? 7, 6, 8, 9. Does that make sense? But you have to know where you're going. All right. So here's an example real quick I want to give you guys, and I'm going to make sure we go right on time here. I'm trying to get down right into 50 minutes here. So here we go. This guy right here, his name is Keith Boyd. He has a condition called non-verbal cerebral palsy. Do you guys know what that is? Anybody know what that is? It's cerebral palsy, but you can't move any part of your body. I get an email. We get thousands of emails all over the world, but I get an email, and it comes in kind of looking like a third grader wrote it. And so I respond to it. He says, hey, I want to start a business to raise $250,000 to give these machines back to other kids with non-verbal cerebral palsy. So I'm thinking, other kids, he had to have, what? So I'm Googling it. I'm like, he had to have written that with his eyes. So that means he looked into a machine with his retinas, with his eyes, his pupils. He looks in there, and it allows him to pick up what he focuses on, and he wrote me an email. So I call the number. His dad answers, James. I said, hey, how long did he work on that? He's like, I think 8 or 9 hours. And I'm going, what? So I meet the dad. Dad tells me the story that some wealthy person donated a machine that allowed him at the age of 8 to talk to the outside world for the first time. It allowed him to look into the machine and he could talk, because you look into it and it puts the words on the screen. And then he hits enter, it says it in kind of a robotish kid voice kind of thing. And so I'm going, so you want to raise money for all these kids? Yeah. Well, who can say no to that? How many people could say no to that? So I'm like, okay, let's do it, man. So we don't have the mindset of will it work? We say it's going to work. So I talked to his dad, and he says, Keith wants to set up snow cone stands, or lemonade stands in front of all these different businesses, and any of the profits will be donated back to this cause. And he's asking local business owners to donate $25,000 apiece to have the big cup in front of their office. So I'm like, I got this. Now, when I cold called businesses to ask them to donate, was I afraid at that point? Why? Because I knew my purpose. And my purpose was to help that young man. And that guy knew his purpose, which inspired me. Does that make sense? So I was being led by an 8-year-old boy who had purpose. Does that make sense? But if we don't have purpose, no one wants to follow us. Are you guys getting me here? We have to know our purpose. We have to. And if you want to live in the woods and raise 5 kids, that's a purpose too. Just very few people will follow you there. Right? Very few people aspire for that, okay? But this isn't a real example. You can look this up. Keith's Lemonade. True story. It was in Huffington Post. Awesome stuff. Okay? Point number 4. You have to invest in over-delivering systematically. So how many of you have a professor? Some of you are going, I don't know what that question means. I don't really know. How many people have a professor, a teacher, somebody who's educating you right now? Some of you are just self-educating in your car? That's kind of sketchy, bro. You're going to have to enroll. Okay, but the thing is, you know what? The teacher can't remember every single person a decade from now, but they can remember you. Why? Because you're going to over-deliver. You're the first one there. Last one to leave. You ask the teacher, can I help you? And you know why you do it? Because it's the most selfish thing you can do to over-deliver. So true story. I, intellectually speaking, have very low IQ. I have high EQ, emotional quotient. I rebound quickly. You could punch me in the face, and I'm like, I feel like there's a chance we could become friends. But the thing is that after I started my DJ business, I had no money. But you know what I had? I had a reputation as the guy who sat in the front row, who asked the questions, and all the teachers said, that dude turns in his papers, albeit perpetually wrong. But I tried my best. Teachers knew that. So when I was trying to raise some money, I called, hey, I'm just trying to get $5,000. If you could give me $5,000, I promise I'll pay you back as soon as possible. I'll pay you small payments every month. This is what I need it for. And guess what? Last year, I raised $3 billion from the same kind of people. How? Because you have a reputation. It's a love bank. Who here is dating somebody? Little dating tip. I've been married for 15 years. I got a little dating. I've been self-employed for 20 years, by the way. First business when I was 15, so this is my 20th year of self-employedness. But here we go. Here's a little dating tip for guys. Ladies, you already know this, but guys, I'm just giving you bonus here, okay? If you know you're going to be late tomorrow for a date because you double booked yourself on something, be crazy early today. Right? Because you want to build a love bank, right, that you can withdraw from. Does that make sense? So, as a human, in the human race here, are we ever going to screw up? All the time. So if we over-deliver and we do make a mistake, people will still hold us in high regard because we over-deliver. Does that make sense? So I'm going to tell you practically how I did this. With my DJ company, after the wedding was done, I called the bride, boop, 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 and I said, hey, how was the wedding? They said it was great. I said, hey, I have a special gift coming for you. Why didn't I tell her what the gift was after her wedding? Somebody? Why did I just have a special gift for you? Come on. Marketing people. It's intrigue. They think about it. People, there you go. It builds suspense. People talk about it. So then the bride gets a letter and it says, on behalf of DJconnection.com, we want to thank you for allowing us to entertain for your big day and to spend your special day with you. And we wanted to encourage you to have one more special day out on us. And so we're giving you a gift card for the Outback for your fiance who craves meat, or your husband who craves meat. And here's a CD of all the songs we played at your wedding, which was highly illegal but very effective. So I gave all that. And I sent it to him. And what happened when the brides got that CD, and I got with their photographer and put the photo of the couple on the CD with all their songs, and it showed up, and they got the gift certificate? What happened? Somebody. Yes, ma'am. That's right. And so a poor kid destroyed Cox Communications. That was it's a big cable company, and we destroyed them. All the DJ companies went out of business, and I got all of the business. Felt so good. Anyway, moving on. So that's how you do it, right? You got to over-deliver. Okay. Next one is 5. We got two more here. 5. Value and develop your mastermind group. Develop your mastermind group. What does that mean? Andrew Carnegie, the world's wealthiest man, okay? Let's go with Michael Dell. Let's go with Steve Jobs. They all talk about the importance of proximity. Who you hang around, right? Your network becomes your net. Somebody say it. Your network becomes your net worth. That's it, right. So me, I grew up in poverty. Nothing wrong with that. But like, here's what we would do together. We're like, dude, do you know the casino has a deal where like you can go in and they give you $5 a free ticket, free play if you go in through that door? I go, that's sweet. And if you go through that door, that security guard is super lazy and he never moves. So you can go through that door and get $10. Really? And if you go through that door and that door and that's 15, and then you could use that at the buffet, free dinner, bro. Like, dude, this is a great mastermind. We're going places. So every week we would get together and talk about jackassery because that's what we did. Now my network is very different. The guy who managed Walt Disney World, he managed 40,000 employees, Lee Cockerell. He's one of my partners. David Robinson's one of my partners. When you're on the phone, none of us are like, hey, let's find out creative ways to steal food from the casino. Right? Because he knows people that I need to know. Does that make sense? So you have to build a relationship and a network. And how do you build a network? By, going back to the last slide, somebody talk to me, over-delivering. Dudes, if you're on a date, check it out. You said you'll be there at 7. Don't be a creeper. Don't show up at 5, but get there at 6:50. Ladies, work with me. I'm trying to educate. Get there at 6:50. You said, hey, I'll take you to the Olive Garden. Is there an Olive Garden here? Okay, you're not going to take that. That'd be weird. You're like driving in a car for 3 hours. The point is, take her to an upgrade. Is there an Outback in town? Is there an Outback? No. Do you guys have restaurants? Okay, here we go. Wherever you told her you would take her, upgrade it by 15%. Are you feeling me? Tell her I'll take you here, but take her someplace nicer. Say I'll be there at 7, but be there at 6:50. Show up with flowers, not creepy flowers where she's like, oh my gosh, But if you over-deliver, what's going to happen, ladies? You're going to start to go, you know what, although he's kind of a bizarre creature, I'll put up with him for an hour maybe. Right? That's how networking works. Does that make sense? So many people network with me and they're like, hey, I want to pick your brain. The problem is my brain's very limited space, very small. But also, if you pick it, there's not much left. But the thing is, if we're networking, and all you do is ask and take, I start to call you a leech. And that's not symbiotic, which means that I just do delete ski on my email, right? But if somebody calls me, and someone did this last year, they called and said, hey, I love what you guys are doing. I'd love to come work there, intern for free for a couple weeks. I'd love to. His name was Devin, and he worked at Walmart. He's a coder. Couldn't find a job. Said, okay, cool. Devin comes in there working at nights, working on PHP coding. Pretty soon I realized he's always here. He works hard. That guy's awesome. What do I want to do? I start to have the law of reciprocity, and I want to go ahead and hire. So I'm talking to my investors going, we got to find a way to hire the Walmart guy with no experience who over-delivers because he's over-delivering. Does that make sense? That's how it works, okay? Forbes did a study on this, by the way. Don't get discouraged, but 8 out of 10 jobs right now that are found after college are as a result of someone that you know. So if you don't know anybody, I guess get used to working for your roommate, maybe? Okay, moving on. So next one, embrace living with a sense of urgency. This is the final point. Embrace living with a sense of urgency. Now I'm going to read this quote to you, and it matters to me, and I'm going to read it to you. It says, this is from Steve Jobs. Remembering that I'll be dead soon is the most important tool I've ever encountered to help me make the big choices in life. Almost everything, all external expectations, all pride, all fear of embarrassment or failure, these things just truly fall away in the face of death, leaving only what is truly important. Remembering that you are going to die is the best way to avoid the trap of thinking you have something to lose. You are already naked. There is no reason not to follow your heart. Okay, well, I'm going to turn it back over to you. You have the mic? Okay. Boom. Thank you.
Big round of applause. Woo!